Roger Wallace, Noah Gross with you from the Cotton Bowl, Texas, over Oklahoma, 34-3, 34 unanswered. Let's just get right to kind of the theme in the post-game news conferences with Steve Sarkisian, with Corny Dog, by the way, and these Longhorn players after this win. Dominating defensive performance, did enough on offense.
I don't have a lot of sources usually for inside stuff, but I did know that Corn Dog was coming if they won. I'll say that. So I was prepared for that moment. And Sark said it was amazing, which I had a corn dog too. We had that on on our pregame show, Texas Game Day. It was good.
We're digressing.
All right, I'll get back to the actual football thing. The big kind of overarching things for Sark included, one, he referenced the win 2 years ago, his first an even more dominant win over an Oklahoma team that also could not pass the ball. And he said after that win, it kind of felt like the Super Bowl, big celebration. And we saw the rest of the season, things didn't go quite the way they wanted. This one, big celebration. They had fun with the golden hat and everything, and it felt personal to a lot of the players, but it was kind of, okay, they're on to the next thing. And I mean, what a next thing they have in Georgia as well. So, and the players kind of reiterated that. The players that were there, we talked to some younger guys like DeAndre Moore, but some of the guys that were there for that 49-0 win as well reiterated that it was a bit of a different feel from that win 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, and the defense bailed them out because Oklahoma had a couple of chances early on to not, put them away or anything, but at least kind of put the pedal to the metal, and they get the pick on the third play. Can't do anything with it. After Texas wins the toss, wants the ball because they're confident they're going to go score, and then they finally get the field goal. And to me, that DeAndre Moore catch, I know there was defensive holding, so it was going to be a first down, but just to get a big play on offense on third down, and then that kind of sparked that big 21-point second quarter.
Yeah, don't think Quinn had his best day. I think he would tell you that as he kind of works his way back in. But that play was incredible as Quinn was kind of working his way toward the sideline, and he'd been kind of cautious to that point. It had been a lot of swings and check downs and throwing the ball away, smartly so with how the Oklahoma offense was playing. He knew his offense probably wouldn't have to do too much, just didn't want to make a mistake. But that one, as he was rolling away, saw him throw it, it was kind of coming right toward us. And DeAndre Moore, incredible footwork on that play. And he's just improved so much week to week to be what would probably be a number one receiver for a lot of teams, and has made some major plays. I don't think his reception number's too high. It was it the Mississippi State game where he had 2 touchdowns on 4 or 5 catches. So he seems to make the big plays when they matter the most, and that kind of kickstarted them a little bit. And then later it was the running game with Quintravian Wisener, who was one of my biggest takeaways from this game. Man, not that Jaden Blue didn't look that great today, but Quintravian Wisener earned a chance to maybe fight for a starting role and just getting a ton more reps. He looked really explosive today.
Yeah, over 100 yards. He had the first one where nearly a touchdown, nearly disaster, and Silas Bolden makes the great play to make it 14-3, and then there was no way he was going to lose the ball on the next touchdown. So he was huge. You mentioned not many catches for DeAndre Moore. Nobody really has a lot, and that's kind of this offense. Now, Isaiah Bond did go down in the first half, didn't return to the game, but Ryan Wingo, and Sark's talked about it. I mean, he doesn't make many plays because he doesn't get that many chances. When he does, they're big. The third down slant, and then, of course, the little reverse as well. He is a guy that when they need a big play, he seems to be one of the guys they call on.
As a true freshman as well, that slant, it looked like that was 10 yards done. We had a good angle. He was coming right at us. There was 3 Oklahoma guys kind of all around him, and his burst is incredible. And then the run as well. I'll be honest, I shot that horribly because he's so quick that it's kind of hard to find him. So good luck editing that tomorrow as well. But yeah, he's such an explosive guy, and it just kind of, from a Texas perspective, gets you excited about what that guy can be in this wide receiver room, where Brent Venables was talking about how good this Texas team is and cited that it's because they're so veteran. 20 of their 22 players, whatever he said, are juniors and seniors. But there's a lot of the younger guys, because on the flip side of that, Sark was saying how their 1 and 2 deep aren't that different. And a lot of those guys in the 2 deep are really young and really explosive, like we've seen with DeAndre Moore and Ryan Wingo as well in the wide receiver room.
We joke with Silas Bolden on the radio, you probably don't practice what he did on a full sprint, dive on the ball, and how many times do we see it scored away? Well, then it's a touchback, and it's still just 7-3. And then he hit the big punt return, and Sark's been waiting for it. Everybody's been waiting for, so heralded out of Oregon State, and he is fearless. But that was kind of one of the last nails in the coffin for Oklahoma when he got the big punt return.
Bolden, we've had fun just watching him because he's just a million miles an hour in a million different directions. He's so energetic, and you can kind of see, even though he hasn't broke one yet before today on a punt return, you could see there's something there. And Sark mentioned kind of an off-the-field thing about him. You know, he was kind of the guy at Oregon State last season, and it's been a bit of a different story here, but just kind of commended him for his work ethic, his mentality. You know, that's what a lot of these transfers came into Texas as. Guys like Matthew Golden as well, just the alpha at Houston, and now it's in a room where it's a lot of guys like that. So his story kind of the same. But yeah, that play where he picked up the touchdown, I mean, that's just kind of him and exemplifies it because he's always sprinting towards something. So he was just there anyway, and he was just the first one going, like we said, 1,000,000 miles an hour and picked up the ball for the score.
All right, well, let's go to the defense. Speaking of sprinting, Anthony Hill, this dude is something special. 11 tackles. I think he may have had more, a couple of sacks. We're seeing Colin Simmons. They just move him all around. You look at number 11, and you see where they move him around. Immediately you think of that guy over at AT&T Stadium and Micah Parsons. But this was just a defensive performance against, OU's a little limited, but they never hit a big play, and that can happen no matter how good your defense is if you run enough plays, and they never let OU get any momentum offensively.
I was watching our Jonathan Thomas breaking down with Alex Okafor in the week some of the defense from the previous one of Mississippi State, and just it was a question you asked Sark recently, the get-off of Colin Simmons specifically. It's unbelievable how explosive this kid is as a true freshman. And another one of the guys coming back home to DFW. All the DFW guys mentioned how special this one was as well. So, yeah, the defense, I was kind of interested to see them get tested today as what I thought was going to be surefire the best offense they've played this season because it hasn't been the highest standard of opposition so far as offensive side of the ball. And Oklahoma has a lot of good players. Hawkins did some things kind of later in the game, but Texas's defense, no matter who they play, seems to just completely dominate to the point where, like we said, with Ewers, he was able to play so safe early because Oklahoma was never really in danger of even really getting to double digits in this one until the last drive of the ball game.
Yeah, and they still kept him out of the end zone.
Yeah.
And then let's flip it back offensively. I don't think it's a coincidence Gunnar Helm had his biggest game since Michigan. I think Quinn Ewers uses, and I think they call plays with Quinn in there, maybe more with Gunnar Helm in mind. Arch, pushes the ball downfield a little bit more, but obviously he was huge today.
Yeah, and he tried his hurdle again. It didn't go quite as well.
He was up, too.
Yeah, I was impressed by the height as well. But, yeah, he's such a solid force for Quinn. You kind of think about that as like a young quarterback would use the tight ends. That's the old adage. But Quinn, a more veteran guy, just has that connection with Gunnar Helm. And as he's grown to be the guy in the wide receiver room, kind of behind Jatavian Sanders, he's become just as reliable as Sanders was. So whether it's a big play down the field with the Matthew Golden one, which is hilarious that they tried that again after how bad the first Matthew Golden pass was, and Helm got up for it, or just like kind of that third down thing. Like he said, when they need an explosive play, they can find Ryan Wingo, which clearly he has that ability. But if you just need a catch, like a curl route or something like that, Gunnar Helm seems more and more reliable by the week.
So they set this one up. Now that, as they say, makes next week even bigger. Much better offense they're going to face. They're going to face a veteran in Carson Beck. They gave up some points today to Mississippi State, but I'm sure the theme was we got to enjoy, flush, rinse, and repeat.
Of course, very excited for next week because that will, of course, be the best offense that Texas has played against this season. So, yeah, they didn't get a ton into Georgia. We will get into that on Monday when we talk to the team. But this 2-week stretch, we talked about earlier how much, everybody's talked about it, what we're going to learn about this Texas team. And especially coming off this win, this stretch they're on, it's probably a good year to have this stretch because, like Sark said, handling the emotions, maybe not the team's strong suit a couple years ago in an emotional game like this against OU. Kind of flipping the page to a game like Georgia might have been a difficult thing, but he seems to think his team is in the right mental space to do that against the Bulldogs.
I think it says a lot that this game probably didn't blow you away when you watch Texas, and yet a very efficient 31-point win in a rivalry. You just don't see those very often. So now Texas moves on. Prime time, ESPN will be there. Game day will be there. Texas, Georgia next Saturday night. For Noah Gross, I'm Roger Wallace. Thanks for watching.